It is extremely important, this attitude of devoting ourselves to a higher ideal. It is extremely, extremely important. We would have experienced it infinite times in our lives. I'm sure each one of us, if we think, we will come up with some example. As I'm speaking, an example is coming to my mind, which I will relate in a minute. But this bringing ourselves to devote what we do to the higher ideal, to Bhagavan, that actually is a solution for lots of things. We may learn, we may read, we may study, we may become experts in what we do from an intellectual level, but it will all be useless in terms of deploying and having any productive use if that aspect is not there of Ishvara Arpana Buddhi. It's like saying, emotional quotient and intelligence quotient. A person with IQ, okay, it's great to have great IQ, okay, but a person with high IQ but low EQ, the problem is the IQ will not be able to be deployed and useful because the EQ will interfere with the deployment of the IQ. Whereas a person with low IQ and high EQ can make effort to grow or deploy whatever IQ he has. So Bhagavan says that even if you do not do it to perfection, while he's consistently, constantly encouraging us, samachara, 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 which is perfection. But he says that even if not done to perfection, do sadharma. Don't do someone else's duty. So when you do, even if your IQ is lower, but if you deploy that higher EQ to do what you are capable of, it will lead to better productive use in the long run. So devoting to the higher ideal is unbelievable. It's amazing. I was remembering this story. I was running, an India center of an American corporation, and our global CEO was visiting us. And actually what had happened was the global CEO was going to step out. He was going to move on to another company, and a successor had joined. So the outgoing CEO was visiting us, and there already a successor who had joined. And we are having this town hall. There are, over almost 2,000 employees out there listening to, in the town hall. And while introducing the CEO, I don't know what happened, whether it was desire, whether it was anxiety, whether it was anger, in some of that quality or element in that ladder of fall, I actually introduced the outgoing CEO by the name of the incoming guy. I did that. It was done. So as much as, I don't know how many people noticed it, okay, but you are aware, as much as a dancer who is performing on stage, if you make a mistake, the dancer knows, hey, one step has gone wrong. The artist knows the mistake. The audience may not even know, but the artist knows. So I knew that, I had made that blunder after making that blunder. Anyway, whatever happened had to happen. I went and sat down, and honestly feeling very low and miserable, because you don't introduce your boss with a wrong name. You feel really, I was feeling really bad. But I was sitting there feeling really bad. I said, now what, man? I mean, it's done. The deed is done. The mistake is done. And then, in fact, yeah, it was triggered by our CFO was also there. And he made a comment. He said, so the CEO and the CFO, they represent the company in the street. So whenever the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, in this case, New York Stock Exchange, you have quarterly meetings. The CFO and CEO are representing, and the CFO is making a presentation. So he was saying that every single time that I make a presentation to the street, I feel proud because I'm representing my organization. And I was looking at him and I was said, my God, why am I feeling low here? I've got 2,000 people who are my team. I'm representing them. Let me be proud. So that's my higher ideal. The thought of the higher ideal came. Bhagavan manifests himself in the higher ideal. Whatever the higher ideal may be, he manifests himself in that higher ideal. As I thought more and more about, I should be proud of my team. I should be proud of the great work I'm doing. I felt better and better. In fact, when I went back up towards the end in the stage, in the last statement, I actually spoke about it. I said, I don't know how many of you noticed, but I made the mistake of introducing Richard Hadrill as Peterson is believing. I said that, and I knew that Hadrill had noticed it. If nobody else, obviously the person who's hearing his name wrong would know it, right? I said, I'm sure he noticed it. And then I said this experience. I said, that I made that mistake. But what do you do? This man is such a powerful personality that he made me nervous. He makes us all nervous. And I introduced himself wrong. But when I was sitting there amongst you all, and I felt proud to be representing all of you, I said, from now on, I take this is like a oath for me. Vyavasayatmika buddhi requires oath taking, by the way. Huh? Whatever you want to do and you're not able to do, you have to take an oath. I said, I take an oath, I will never ever feel nervous when I'm representing you. So actually, even though I had made that mistake earlier, this acknowledgement of that mistake, devoting to the higher ideal, and saying that I take an oath, it had such a positive impact that, later on, Hadrill came and gave me a tight hug. He said, wow, Srini, I'm so happy that you'd said this. So devoting yourself to the higher ideal can perform magic. And there are small examples. I mean, I would encourage you to think of your own life examples.